From the time I was 9 until I was 12, I lived with my mom and stepdad in a nice, quiet apartment. Don't mistake quiet, however, for uneventful. While it was nice, it was eerie. You hear haunted stories all the time about how people describe the feeling of being watched. That feeling became the norm for me living there. I've had several paranormal encounters in that apartment, but one stands out the most. It was the middle of summer, and my friend Cindy was visiting from across the street. I was 11 at the time. It was in the middle of the week, so my mom was at work. My friend and I were about to go back outside to play a detective game when I saw something come out of the wall at the end of the long hallway behind her. Cindy was writing something down in a notebook she held in the opposite hand, completely unaware of anything else going on around her. My attention, though, was 100% on what I was seeing. It was moving quickly, slithering out from the middle of the wall like a giant gray snake. It began twisting and shifting colors to white and dark purple, similar to how it looks when you rub your eyes too hard. Almost digital looking. It's the only thing I can equate it to. I stared at it as it writhed closer towards us. I wanted to believe it was nothing, and part of me wanted to test that theory as it swirled about 2 feet away from my friend's back. What if I let it touch her? I felt my legs lock up and my heart creep up my throat. The thing wasn't going away. I had to say something. "Let's get out of here," I whispered to her loudly, like I had to force the words out. She looked at me with wide eyes, knowing something had freaked me out, and ran with me to the front door. When we got outside, she asked me what had happened. All I could tell her was that there was something behind her, coming at us. To make matters worse, for me, I had left my water bottle upstairs in my apartment. I had a high anxiety at that age, and my throat was constantly dry to where I would almost choke. I needed that water bottle, and Cindy's parents were surprisingly strict about letting friends inside, for any reason. I was going back up there. I remember unlocking the front door to head back upstairs. Everything was silent. I took very slow steps back upstairs, listening for any sounds coming from my apartment. When I got outside my door, I braced myself. I just knew it was still in there. But I also knew that I had left my water bottle on the living room table, right by the front door. My plan was to open the door, keep a foot against it so that it wouldn't close, and reach the table to grab what I needed. I told myself I wouldn't even look up. I failed. When I opened the door, I did keep my eyes towards the ground and leaned in as far as I could. But when my hand closed around the water bottle, my eyes deviated from the plan. I looked up, and there it was, stretched the entire length of the hallway, swirling in its dark gray, white, and dark purple mass. It made no sound, but the air in the apartment was heavy and damp. The light that would normally shine through the large front windows was somehow being blanketed by an invisible darkened cast. It was growing and trying to overtake my home. For a second, I froze. I couldn't break the gaze I'd made with it. Then, adrenaline took over. I darted out of there so fast, jumping down 3 to 4 steps at a time. When I reached the bottom, my stepdad was opening up the front door. He took one look at me and said,
"Aim, what's the matter? You look like you've seen a ghost."
"Nice, right?" My reply was breathless. "I think I just did." He walked quickly up the stairs, determined to find out what was giving me such grief. But, as every "Mommy, Daddy, there's a monster under my bed" movie scene goes, when he opened the apartment door, it was gone. The air felt normal and breathable again. The light from the front windows had returned, and there was no gray entity. It was as if it had never happened, but it did. I had nightmares about it coming back for me for years, even after we had moved. I know what I saw. I'd really like to know what it was, even though it still haunts my mind to this day. When I was 19, I was in my second year of college. I would always come home for the weekends and visit with my family. One Friday night, though, traumatized me. I'd gotten home around 8 p.m. and made up a futon in my younger brother's room instead of sleeping on the couch. My old room was full of my stuff, and I was too tired to try to clean it up that night, which I think made a big difference in how the night turned out. It was November, and active weather was moving in. I had turned on the television in my brother's room after he had fallen asleep to watch the news on it. It was around 11 o'clock. The meteorologist had used the term electrical storm. It was really something. I watched the sky for a short while through the blinds in his room as I'm fascinated by severe weather. The sky lit up with every color of lightning. Bright neon pink, blue, yellow, white, purple, and green. It looked like transformers were blowing up. It was amazing. There was a constant low rumble of thunder as I turned on my small LED candle before crawling into my makeshift bed. My brother was 8 years old then and liked to sleep with the door open, so I made sure it was. I laid there, listening to the thunder, wondering how I'd sleep with a constant array of lights sneaking their way through the blinds. I turned my focus to the doorway, listening for a beagle, who would eventually make her way to wherever I was when I stayed. It looked like an invisible person walking with a black outline. I blinked a few times, wondering what kind of trick my eyes were playing on me, but it kept moving in front of the doorway. I kept my eyes fixed on it. It entered the room. I felt my face cringe and my eyebrows narrow as I struggled to find logic in what I was seeing. It didn't seem to pay any attention to me, but my brother had all its interest. He was asleep in his bed, facing his closet, same side as the doorway, as this invisible force made its way towards him. I watched in shock as it approached his bedside, creeping like someone who was trying to stay as quiet as possible would move, mentally making note of how I'd react if it got within a certain range of him, and what it could do in return to my actions. I didn't have time to think it all the way through, as it held its hands up like claws and leaned in by his face. I threw my covers off of me and sat straight up in bed, putting my feet on the floor, ready to get up, looking right at it. It turned its head to me, acting surprised that I could see it. I couldn't see its features, but I know we'd made eye contact. I was letting it know that it was messing with the wrong person. It straightened itself back up to a normal position and just watched me, watching it. I was in defense mode. I didn't care what it wanted to do to me. It was not going to mess with my little brother. To my surprise, it just began slowly walking towards the doorway. Whatever this thing was, acted like I had some kind of power over it. It slipped back into the doorway and vanished into the hall. I sat there for a few minutes, listening for it, questioning my sanity, and waiting for some kind of retaliation. The electrical storm raged on, with thunder that shook the windows and wind that slammed small tree branches against the glass. It never came back in. I gained the courage to get up and walk the house. I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to mess with any of us. I called our beagle into the room and shut the door behind us. I've heard there's a connection between paranormal occurrences and electrical storms/transformer towers, which the latter is conveniently located in the large field behind my house. To the best of my knowledge, that thing never came back. I don't think I want to know what it wanted with my brother, but as far as I'm concerned, I'll never let anything happen. What up, guys? This is Graveyard Golgotha, and thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and hit that like button. If you would like more of this content, please tap that notification bell to get updates when I create new content for this channel. All of your support keeps me going and keeps this channel alive. But before you leave, be sure to hit that subscribe button to become a member of the underground. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.